There are many individuals out there who have invested in digital assets and crypto and hold a percentage of crypto within their investment portfolio. But have you ever considered the Zakat treatment of these particular digital assets? In this video, let's break down what the Zakat treatment is of holding digital assets in your portfolio. Now, first things first, Zakat will only be payable if you follow the view that digital assets are Sharia compliant or can be Sharia compliant to invest in and hold in your portfolio. If you follow a scholar and a view that digital assets are not Sharia compliant and you can't invest, then of course the question of Zakat does not come, because you would have to liquidate your portfolio and give any capital gain in charity for purification purposes. So this is specifically for those who follow the view that digital assets and crypto can be Sharia compliant. Now, how does Zakat work on digital assets? Well, the most important thing from a Zakat perspective is the intention. Zakat revolves around the intention upon acquisition of an asset. So if you acquire an asset with the sole intention for capital gain and to sell on for profit purposes, and you are trading in that asset, then there's always Zakat, regardless of which asset it is, whether it's digital assets, whether it's property, whether it's stocks, shares, funds, units, anything that you invest in with the intention to resell will always be subject to Zakat, 2.5% of that value. So very clearly, you're holding this portfolio with a specific target and goal in mind, upon which you will liquidate your portfolio, sell your holdings, and benefit from the capital gain. In that scenario, your intention was always to sell. You're holding it to sell. You're just waiting for the price to hit at your desired rate, and then you will liquidate your portfolio. Hence, in that scenario, Zakat will always be available regardless of which crypto is, whether you're holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, or anything else which is a Sharia digital asset. Zakat will be 2.5% of the entire portfolio value. However, if you are holding digital assets not with the intention to resell, rather you've invested and curated a portfolio of digital assets, and the intention is, I am not selling, rather I am holding this for the long term, and I'm not going to resell now. I have no intention to sell. This is just long term. I'm just diversifying my cash holdings into other assets. Then it all depends on the type of digital asset. Similarly, another intention can be, I am not selling, rather I'm holding these digital assets to use them. Maybe it's a utility token. Maybe it's a governance token. So the idea behind this acquisition is not to trade, not to liquidate, not for capital gain purposes, but I want to use the Ethereum platform for small contracts, or I want to use this governance token so I can vote on a particular DAO, and that will change Zakat dynamics for these digital assets. Now, what's the Zakat treatment then with this second intention where you're not trading and you're holding these for other reasons? It all then depends on the type of digital asset and crypto. So let's divide this now into 5. If you are holding payment tokens, exchange tokens, or what's known as a cryptocurrency in its real sense, where you have a digital asset, a crypto, which was purely created to function as a payment system, as a medium of exchange, for example, Bitcoin, then many of the scholars of the view, because this is purely functioning as a payment system, it was created as a peer-to-peer digital cash system, then this will always be treated as a payment system and a currency as far as Zakat is concerned. So regardless of the intention behind Bitcoin, whether you're trading it or holding it, because the very digital asset functions as a means of payment, that is the sole purpose and core feature and functionality of this digital asset, it will be treated as, for Zakat purposes, always Zakatable, like Litecoin and Dash and other such tokens, which are created to serve as pure payment systems. Zakat will always be due upon them. The second type of crypto or digital asset is utility tokens, like your Ethereum and other tokens, which actually provide benefit and services when you use them. They can be used for gas fees and other things, running smart contracts, and therefore, in that scenario, if your intention is, I'm not trading, I'm holding this to use for the benefits it provides on a platform, on a particular software, or it's just long term, I've parked it in there with no intention to sell, I've just diversified my holdings and my assets, then there will be no Zakat on this. Yes, if a person, because Ethereum can also be used as a medium of exchange, and you bought it without very reason and it's being used in that way, then Zakat should be paid on Ethereum, because now you've specified the use of this and the network understands this to be a payment token, a currency, a medium of exchange in that particular network. So for Zakat purposes, you'll pay Zakat on that. However, if that's not the case, you've just invested in this, or you're holding or you're using it with no intention or focus on using it as a payment system, zakat will not be due on Ethereum at all. The third type of digital asset is the asset-backed token. These are tokens which are actually tokenizing real-world assets. So it may be gold, it may be silver, it could be property, commodities, or evidencing ownership in these particular real-world assets. So it all then depends on the underlying asset. Is this token your ownership, proof, and evidence and certificate of gold? By you possessing this token, you have the right to gold, trade gold, and you have the ownership stake in underlying gold, then of course they will always be zakatable, because owning this token means you own a share in some specific gold underpinning this token. Likewise, if it's silver, it'll always be subject to zakat. If it's a commodity that's being traded and you're using an asset-backed token, then that will also be subject to zakat, because it's as good as trading in stock and business goods. However, if the asset-backed token is tokenizing something which is not being traded at all, neither is gold or silver. For instance, it's just a share in real estate or property which is on lease. So if this token has tokenized a property, we know that there is no zakat on rental property as far as the property is concerned. Similarly, in this scenario, the tokenization of rental property will also mean there is no zakat on the token itself. Only on the income that's gained, there'll be zakat. Or this asset-backed token is being backed by copper or something else. You've invested in this asset for the long term, no intention to sell. You're not trading this. Maybe in the future, one day, if you need to liquidate these holdings, you liquidate. But as far as you're concerned now, you're not trading this. You've just diversified your assets. You're holding something else. There will be no zakat in this because it's not a zakatable asset as of now. The fourth type of digital asset then is the governance token. There are many tokens out there which function as governance mechanisms where you can take a vote and have a say in the governance of that protocol. Now, again, if you invested in this for trading purposes, and as I mentioned earlier, of course, there will always be zakat on this. However, if you've acquired this digital asset to take part in the governance, to have a vote, to have a say, then there will be no zakat in this because it's not a zakatable asset. This is just a token and a means for you to have a say on a platform. Or if you've invested in the governance token for this long-term view where I am not in selling or trading, rather I'm just diversifying my assets and my holdings and holding different things, no intention to resell, holding this just diversified, maybe I'll sell, maybe I won't, I have no fixed intention, then zakat will not be due upon the governance token. And finally, the last token is a security token, which are not so common, but if security tokens are used whereby these tokens now represent stakes and shares within companies, within funds, which are composed of multiple assets, then the zakat treatment will always depend on the underlying asset classes. Like a company or a share, if you invest in the stock market and have shares, and you're holding this for the long term, then zakat is always based upon the proportionate zakatable assets in that company. For instance, you've added the cash equivalents, stock, inventory, receivables. These are the typical zakatable assets that are found on a balance sheet. You've added these assets up, then you've deducted the current liabilities. The net zakatable assets figure is what will be considered for zakat purposes. So in a security token, you'll do the same thing. You'll be concerned with the net zakatable assets underlying this security token, and you'll pay zakat on that. So if you have a security token or the underpinning company, an underlying company, just say the zakatable assets are just 20% and you own £1,000 of security tokens, then you'll pay zakat on 20% of the £1,000, which is £200. That's 2.5% of 200, which is £5. That's how the zakat will be calculated on security tokens. That's of course if you are not trading. If you are trading, then as always, the rule is regardless of the token, zakat will always be due on the full value of the portfolio or full value of your tokens, irrespective of the type of token that you are holding. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. We will be sharing multiple videos now on zakat and investments and everything to do with zakat as Ramadan approaches.